As the weather gets colder and colder, new pet owners and those who are thinking about adoption might not always think about the effects that the winter conditions can have on our new fur babies. With us today is Heather Klefstedt from Homeward Animal Shelter to talk a little bit about what we should know. Whether you're new to having a pet or you've had a pet for a while, sometimes we need some of these reminders. Let's talk. I mean, it's cold out. It's getting colder. I think in the 7-day, there's a high of 0.
Yes.
So we think about keeping ourselves warm. Who do we have here and what do we need to think about for pets like this kitty?
Well, this is Maynard here. He's up for adoption at the shelter. He's 3.5 years old, so he'd love to meet you, love to be part of your family. But for, animals like Maynard, he, was out on the streets as well, so he ended up in the pound. But for animals like that, especially with the cold weather and the conditions that we get up here, it's very important to keep these animals indoors with you. If you're in a rural area and you do have outdoor animals, making sure that they have that adequate warm shelter to go into with these conditions that we have. Of course, anything with 20 degrees or lower than that, that's when really they can get hypothermia, frostbite can set in at that point. And as we know here, it gets pretty cold, much colder than that. And
much colder than 20.
Yes. With the wind chill, it feels, even way worse than that. So just keeping them in that adequate indoor space where they have warmth to get into is really what
I didn't know that. It makes sense, but you said cats and dogs, they can suffer from hypothermia?
Absolutely. They can get hypothermia as well. So just making sure that you're mindful of that and not having them outdoors too long, especially when the temps are really cold.
And frostbite, I feel like we've all seen pictures of kitties that have lost the tips of their ears. That's from being outside too long.
Yep, that's from being outside too long in the elements too long, and it just, destroys the tissue and damages all of that. So really, something you want to be mindful of at any point, when you're walking your dogs too, just if it's very, very cold, making sure that you're just taking shorter walks throughout those cold times. Of course, you have to take them out for those walks that are necessary, but again, being mindful of just making them shorter.
What do you think about like dog booties or cat booties? Because there's like salt and stuff that can get in there. What are the concerns that pet owners should be aware of?
Absolutely. If that's something that your dog will tolerate, that's a great option for you.
That's key.
Some dogs just won't go for it, but if they will, it's a great option for you. Otherwise, making sure that the pet salt that you put out is pet safe. He's being a little rambunctious this morning.
Maynard.
Or making sure that you're wiping your pet's paws off when you do bring them inside, because the salt itself can burn your pet's paws. So you want to make sure that if you are walking your dog, just making sure you wipe off those paws when you get back in the house.
And you mentioned having a warm place for them to go if they do like to go outside or you keep them outside. Food and water also is something you need to keep in mind with the conditions, right?
Absolutely, making sure that they have the adequate food and water, because they, with the colder weather, they use up that energy more often. So, and of course, if you do have animals outside, which we want you to keep them indoors, of course, but if you're in that rural setting and you have animals that are outdoors, making sure in that shelter you have the adequate water that isn't frozen. So there's pet dishes that are heated as well to make sure that water isn't frozen and they have something to drink.
And it's the time of year, and this guy is up for adoption. A lot of people might be thinking about gifting pets. It's always great to rescue, but you also need to put more thought into it than just surprising someone with a gift like an animal.
Your heart might be in the right place, but we really recommend not gifting an animal to somebody. When you're giving an animal as a gift, it needs to be a lifelong commitment and a decision by that person themselves. So of course, unless you're the parents who have been planning on getting a pet for the family and you want to surprise your kids and you are the adult that is going to be taken care of and are responsible for that animal, that would be obviously an okay situation. But if you're planning on, gifting your mom and dad a cat or dog or, somebody else that you care about, it's just not a great idea. We want to make sure that that person is, ready and responsible to care for that animal.
So you have this guy. Other animals are up for adoption though too, if you are in the right time and place right now.
Absolutely. We have so many wonderful animals that are up for adoption, many dogs and cats that are looking for their forever home. So if you are looking to add a furry family member to your household, please consider adoption and come out and see us at the shelter. You can see all the wonderful animals that we have available on our website at homewardonline.org. And, if you can't adopt, there's still ways you can help these guys. We're always looking for volunteers and fosters. And of course, this time of year, donations are always a great help, whether it be monetary monetary donations or in-kind donations.
Heather, it's always great to visit with you. Want to keep our pets warm and safe as well this well, cold winter season. Thank you
That's
for
right.
coming in, and
Thank
you
you.
too, buddy. All right, we'll be right back.